All right, guys, let's wrap up our discussion on alcohol by talking about withdrawal. Now, withdrawal can be really tricky on a test day because it can look like a lot of other conditions. The one that really comes to mind for me is delirium. And I would say what's really going to help you out here is history. So if this patient has just like newly hospitalized and then after 1 or 2 days, they start to decompensate in some new type of way, this is the type of person you might be suspecting alcohol withdrawal because they've been in the hospital, they've been away from their source of alcohol, and now they're experiencing symptoms of withdrawal, which we'll talk about in a second, as opposed to patients with delirium who tend to experience symptoms in ICUs. They tend to be older patients with long hospital stays. So if you're on like day 14 of your hospital stay and all of a sudden things are starting to change, that is more likely to be delirium than alcohol withdrawal, which you're going to be expecting sometime in 24 to 48 hours after the start of the hospital admission. So let's kind of go through the timeline. And I want to say that all these numbers are variable in terms of how alcohol withdrawal will present, but they're rough guidelines. And additionally, the patient can still be drinking alcohol and have withdrawal symptoms. All we need is a reduction in the amount of alcohol. So if someone is used to drinking a liter of alcohol a day and you cut that liter down to, let's say, 250 milliliters of alcohol, that is enough to cause withdrawal. So that's another thing to be looking out for. So in terms of the first 3 to 36 hours, we think of mainly somatic symptoms. This is going to be things like tremors, diaphoresis, agitation, insomnia, nausea, and emesis. You can see that these symptoms are quite nonspecific, so it's helpful to correlate this with lab values and history. Now, moving on to stage 2, we start to get seizures around anywhere between 6 to 48 hours post a reduction in ETOH. These are usually going to be generalized tonic-clonic seizures. The next thing we're going to talk about is our hallucinations, and these are going to come up between 12 to 48 hours, and these are classically going to be visual hallucinations. Lastly, and most importantly, we have delirium tremens. And this is going to occur anywhere past 48 hours, and this is a life-threatening complication of alcohol withdrawal. It's characterized by altered mental status, seizures, hallucinations, and autonomic instability. So you can see it's kind of a combo of all the previous stages, and it just intensifies. And this autonomic instability is because alcohol is a depressant. When you take that depressant away, you have this increase in sympathetic drive that's going to lead to this life-threatening autonomic instability that is characteristic of delirium tremens. So how do we manage this? How do we prevent people from going down this stepwise decline to delirium tremens? Well, our answer is going to be benzos. We give benzos because they are GABA A agonists, just like alcohol. And they also have some useful properties that can help people who are experiencing withdrawal. They are anxiolytic in nature, so people who are withdrawing from alcohol can be very anxious, uncomfortable, and the benzodiazepines can help them with this. They also have anti-epileptic activity, and we know that seizures are a big part of alcohol withdrawal, so we can prophylax against seizures and alcohol withdrawal together with benzos, which makes them a great agent for our patients who are withdrawing from alcohol.